Welcome back to MineOperator. Today we're going to get that column up in that tank. So I have to extend the tank down to a 4-inch opening. So I got some poster board, taped it. I drew the line around the current opening. Now I got to be able to figure out where the 4-inch portion will go. I'll be able to cut that, fold it open, and that'll be the shape of the metal. I'll go a little bit long up here. That way I have some meat to weld to. We'll see if this works. Here is the stencil that I made. I cut out this steel using a Makita jigsaw with a metal cutoff blade. And it cut the 14 gauge steel rather easily. Alright, so the cutout came out pretty well. I know it's going to be a little challenging to attempt to bend this into place, but gonna work with what I got. Just have to use some muscles. What I think I'm going to do is just cut this in quarter sections and hammer this steel over a pipe and try to get it in a shape and then weld it back together. Otherwise, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this to the proper arch without hurting myself, so I'm going to give that a try. So I have an idea. I cut off the quarter section and I'm going to try hammering it around this 4-inch tubing. Let's see if this works. So after some practice, I was able to get it pretty well rounded using this steel pipe. So I'm going to cut the remaining quarter sections off and then just hammer it into shape. So it's working. Really happy with that around the nipple. I still have to weld up the rest of the steel, but my knees are killing me, so it's probably a good point to stop and go get some dinner. But I'm happy with how it's turning out. This way I could install the flange right here. We'll go ahead and use an elbow, a valve. We're also going to have a let's see, a water pressure gauge to tell us what kind of pressure we're dealing with, see if that kind of gives us a tell when we should clean out the tank, or if we should just do it based on time. Like for example, we ran 1,000 pounds in an hour. Is that a good time to discharge it? Or every 30 minutes discharge 500 pounds, or wait an hour, do 1,000 pounds. That's if we're doing 1,000 pounds an hour. So I really don't know yet, but that's where we have a little bit of a learning curve when we get out at the mill site and we get to test out the equipment.
I decided to come back out and weld up some angle iron to reinforce the bottom section of the tank.
I'm gonna add this kicker in right here to this leg and do it on each other leg, because this tank is gonna have a tremendous amount of weight in it, more than what it was designed for. I mean, this was a grain silo, so that weight is far less than the water this is gonna hold and the tailings. So there will be over 10,000 pounds in this tank. So I wanna have this kicker here, and this will be supporting the angle that I welded onto the tank. And up in the corner, I'm going to install some angle iron. In the corner, I'm going to weld on some angle iron to the leg to take the pressure off. If there is any expansion in the tank, this will help support that expansion and take the stress off of the welded seam here. All right, now to weld it up.
As I study the topic of mining and mineral processing, I learned early on that I'm going to need to learn how to weld. And I'm sure glad I did, because I've worked on everything from this clarifying tank to working on conveyors, repairing shipping containers, making repairs on trucks, modifications on trailers, on cranes, gin pulls, a skip for mining, ore carts, the skid for the jaw crusher, the gantry crane, guards, hook points on the mill, anchors for the mill, sluice box modifications, vibrating screen decks. It's just endless how much stuff you have to make, modify, and work on. If you are interested in learning how to weld, or you want to learn a new method, or on how to cut steel, take a look at the Weldors Welding Workshop. I'll leave a link to the website in the description to this video.
Here are the kickers that I just welded on, and got that angle iron welded to the leg. There's this kicker here. So these supports will help reinforce the tank that's going to take 10,000 pounds of weight. So that's going to be far more than what it was initially designed for. So now reinforcing it should do the trick. I got cross supports, and there's still more to do, but just wanted to give you an update where I'm at. And Paul, I want to thank you. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to get this tank done. As you can tell from inside the tank, I've primed the bottom of the conical tank, and now I'm going to put on a rubber coating, and so I'm going to get that done now. That was not easy, and it's pretty hot out, but I had no choice. I'm sweating pretty bad right now. Whew. Glad that's over with. So that is one coat of that rubber. Let me show you what it looks like down there. Be sure not to drop the camera. So I got the whole bottom coated. I'm glad that's over with. All right, so on to the next project. Today is the day that you've all been waiting for. Well, at least I've been waiting for, and that's to get that column right there up inside that tank. Let me show you how I have this rigged up. So I have a pulley on the main line, and I'm going to be pulling it from this separate rope here. Every time I pull that rope, there's a pulley up here that takes up the slack. I can let go and I don't have to keep tension on the line. So I'll be able to pull this and that'll keep tension. Now, when this column is up in the center of the tank, I need to lower it down. So I have it on my descender here. So I'll pull this lever and the column will lower into the center of the tank. Now at the top I have a quadruple Prusik just to prevent it from sliding left or right. So that's my main line. And then the pulley line is this one. So I'll be able to pull here on this side. It'll lock on that take up pulley there. And then I'm gonna have some fall restraint for me while I'm standing up here working. And over here I have my ladder. This ladder I'll be able to descend down into the tank, do some work, and I can take that off once that column's in the center. Looking back, you can see the rigging, where my truck is at. I need all the elevation I can get. I raised the column here with some lumber I had. Now to take up the slack here on the truck and the ladder rack. Yeah, it's better that I set it up here. It's lower here and I was able to just raise it with the lumber. So now I have a higher angle on my main line. Got a higher angle, so that'll be easier. Now to give it a try. Now to start pulling, see if it drags on the ground at all, and if I can get it up on the tank. The tank is off the ground now, but we are not going to clear the top of the tank. So that is going to be challenging. And I'm trying to figure that one out right now. Well, I'm a little disappointed, but I always expect something to go wrong, and this is what's going wrong right now. Apparently my rope is not as static as I was hoping, so you have it flexing down and eliminating all of the elevation that I need. So I know a gin pull would be wonderful to set up. It's pretty far away where it's at right now. And then I've got to spend extra time fabricating up something. So I either got to figure out what to do today to get it up there, or I have to lower it. I got to move this out of the way and lower it and come back another day when I figure out how to do this. So it's always challenging, so we'll get it figured out. I have an idea, and that is using my foot loop and that pulley that's already up there. That's a rope grab. It does both, so I'm able to use my body weight to pull the column up, and then the rope grab will take up the slack and then bite, and so then I'll be able to reposition with this and pull the next section down. So we'll give it a try, see how it goes. Alright, that pulled up some, but not as much as I was hoping. All my weight right there. So it might be caught. Let me go look and see. Hope it's not caught on the tank. Yeah, the column is getting hung up on the side of the tank, so I have extra resistance. Looks like I got to move that ladder inside the tank, as that's going to become a problem. My solution is I put another pulley, a snatch block, on the connection point, so it's going through one pulley there. It's a rope grab coming back on itself, and then it's going to that pulley, coming back over this shackle. It's coming over that shackle. Then I'm going to put a foot loop on this. So I believe what I just made was a 2-to-1 ratio. I don't think it's quite a 3-to-1 ratio, but it's going to make the load a lot lighter as I put my foot loop on right here. Foot loop to hand ascender. So now let's give this a try and see how it works out. Okay, so I'm connected in. Hand ascender here, foot loop. I believe it's just my 2-to-1, so instead of it being 100 pounds, it's 50 pounds now. Yeah, that's easier. The rope grab took up the slack. I can raise my hand ascender now. Raise my hand ascender. Use push down on my foot loop. Yeah, and that is working. So I'll give it another pull. There's a little resistance because that bottom of that tank. So let me turn the GoPro the other way so you can see how that block is working. Okay. Alright, so that is not pulling up. I'm gonna go check and see if I have any resistance on the other end. I have a little helper here who's helping me get this column in our tank. Yep, we got a little helper.
Oh, she's so cute. She's like,
All right, well, thanks for helping us. We could use it. Okay, that was absolutely brutal. That last final hour really kicked my butt. So I got it installed in the tank. It did not go as smooth as I wanted. Let's go take a look at the column inside the tank. Notice how this is sticking out about an inch. And on the right side up front, that's the inch that it needs to go. So unfortunately it's all nicely welded up. What I'm gonna have to do is cut this, cut it here, it'll drop in, and then I could literally take that piece and put it in that gap over there and weld it. I mean, we're good. The brackets are lined up in the right spots, and the rigging was extremely challenging because of the clearance. And since that conical section of the tank, which looks good by the way, you see that all that room on the side for clean water to come back up, that is super exciting. But that area on that bottom, call it the bell area on that column, was getting hung up on the side of the tank, and it was creating more friction, so it was really challenging. I need to make this cut here. The only way to safely do it is to be hanging on a rope. I've got my harness on, my fall restraint. I'm harnessed in 2 positions, and I have some protective coverings over my rope so the sparks don't damage my climbing rope. Now I'm going to go and get my cutoff wheel. I'm going to cut here, have it supported so it doesn't pinch my my blade on my cutoff wheel. So let's get this done. Alright, now I can finish the cut with my Sawzall.
Now to tack weld it together.
So the GoPro shut off while welding up here, while installing the column. It's going to be 108 or 109 a day, so I'm getting an early start and going to call it, you know, as soon as I can't take it anymore. And then it's 110 tomorrow, so you know, I can only do so much in the heat. But right now what I'm going to work on is getting each of the legs or supports welded to the brackets, and then I'll probably measure some kickers. I'm gonna go down to the tank and put supports in as well. So making great progress, and we're gonna get this tank done. Welded up all the supports. Obviously there's going to be a part 3. So this project is a massive project. When we install this clarifying tank, we're going to be able to run volume, and that's going to help us produce more gold, have cleaner water. So this tank has multiple purposes. On part 3 of this series, you're going to see me install some cross supports, catwalk up here. I'm going to finish the 4-inch piping down below with the valves and the nipple, and, you know, paint it up. That's another thing. Then I've got to paint and coat this whole thing and then get it ready for transport. So we're gonna see if we could do that this month here in September, at the end of the month, get this thing installed. But that's if I can get it done. So we'll see. If not, we've got so many more videos coming up. Harry's up with Jason from Mount Baker Mining and Metals right now. I wish I was there with them. They are enjoying some cool weather, and I'm here in about 108 to 110 trying to get this done so that we could have a strong start to our season starting in October. Take a look at our memberships too. You can support our channel and the projects we're working on so that we can help develop some gold mines and start getting into production. As always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.